Hello everyone, and thank you all for participating in this stream, for your attention. Today is 24th of July. Now it's 3 o'clock. Hello everyone by Moscow time, and thank you all for participating in this stream, update, for your attention. Today is 24th as I said in July. My previous now it's 3 o'clock. Hello everyone by Moscow time, and thank you all for participating in this stream, update, for your attention. Today is 24th as I said in July. Previous now it's 3 o'clock. Hello everyone by Moscow time, and thank you all for participating in this stream, update, for your attention. Today is 24th as I said in July. Previous. Sorry dear friends, there was some technical issue. Unfortunately, it happens time to time. Yes, I can read the chat echo. Hopefully, it's okay now. And yes, if there will be any questions or topics that you want to highlight, or if I'm unable to answer to your question in this live stream, I will do it next day. For now, I didn't receive any questions. Yes, that's been said, let's talk about news now. And first of all, I'll give you a breaking news for this moment, which is that there was explosion in Moscow, assassination attempt of the GRU high-ranking officer, according to media reports. This information caused some chaos in the media field today, because there were different reports on different media outlets that were kind of contradicting each other. And for example, Kommersant newspaper reported, and I translated it, that as Kommersant has learned, the person injured in a car explosion in the north of Moscow is an officer of the Ministry of Defense. His legs were blown off as a result of this explosion. Previously, he served at the GRU and was responsible for communications in his unit. In connection with the identity of the victim, a version related to the actions of the Ukrainian special services and their agents is also being pursued. According to Kommersant's information, the case was initiated under Article 30 and 105 of the Criminal Code, attempted murder, which can later be reclassified as a terrorist attack. That was initial information that became available on main majority of the media outlets, but later on, same Kommersant newspaper reported that Andrei Targashov, person that supposedly was in that car and was targeted by this attack, denied that he was injured during the car explosion in Moscow. According to Kommersant, victim was his namesake, so someone else with the same name who also served in the military, by coincidence, was targeted, according to Kommersant. And this person, Andrei Targashov, himself connected to media outlets to share information that he is okay, and he and his family no longer even live in that area of the Moscow. So if this was, and most likely this was a terrorist attack organized by Kiev regime's intelligence services, SBU, or main intelligence directorate of their defense ministry, well, they clearly targeted a different person, it seems like. But yet again, still media outlets are reporting on these topics, and if additional information becomes available, I will share with you. At this moment, it's still not really easy to learn what has happened and who exactly was in that car, what did take place. But meanwhile, Russian investigators already know a person who was involved in this attack. I translated this information also, that investigation has identified the suspect in the car bombing in the north of Moscow, and his car was also found The investigative committee of Russian Federation reported the identity of the suspect in a criminal case regarding the bombing of a car in the north of Moscow has been established. The car in which the suspect arrived at the crime scene has also been identified and is being inspected by investigators, says a message posted on the department's Telegram channel on Wednesday. And also, by the way, additional information that on Wednesday morning a car explosion occurred on the courtyard of one of the houses on Sinyavinskaya Street, as a result of which 2 people were injured. Informed sources told us that the owner of the car is a colonel of the Russian Armed Forces, head of one of the units of the General Staff. An explosive device with a capacity of about 500 grams in TNT was planted under the driver's seat, their agency's source claims. And on my Telegram channel, probably many of you already see, I shared some videos, some video footage of that damaged car. For example, this is the area where explosion occurred. This silver car, I believe, was a primary target of the terrorists. Of course, investigators, including sappers, went to the place to check area. Also, additional videos, by the way. This is the car, and that's a picture. And well, even if Kiev regime secret services made mistake while targeting mistake in identity during this attack, unfortunately, 2 individuals that were in the car, they received injuries, and the man that was behind the driving seat lost his feet as a result of this explosion. Female was injured also. Of course, if any additional news on this matter, I will report about it on my Telegram channel and in the next updates. And now let's continue with some additional news, which is also somewhat related, or directly even related, to Ukraine, even though news comes from Georgia. Both are former Soviet republics, of course, and I also post this information on my Telegram, and I will read it to you if I may. So, State Security Service of Georgia stated that a murder or assassination of the Bidzina Ivanishvili is being prepared in Ukraine. And this is, by the way, not some a private citizen is saying this, not some politician, but this is a state security service that highly unlikely that will make such a statement without concrete evidences. So, former officials of the Georgian government and security forces located in Ukraine are preparing the assassination of their honorary chairman of the Georgian Dream, Bidzina Ivanishvili, the Georgian State Security Service announced on July 24, reports the correspondent of the newspaper Vzglyad in Tbilisi. And I will add here that Georgian Dream is a ruling party in Georgia, and Bidzina Ivanishvili is not just a honorary chairman of this party right now, but he founded this party, and he was prime minister of Georgia at some point. The statement noticed that the investigation is underway under the articles conspiracy or uprising for a violent change of the constitutional system and the terrorist act, which threatens with the imprisonment for up to 10 years. It is noted that criminal acts are being prepared by former officials of the Georgian government located in Ukraine and former employees of law enforcement agencies. Among such acts, according to State Security Service, is preparation of the assassination of the honorary chairman of the Georgian Dream Party, Bidzina Ivanishvili. According to Security Service, the proposed of this act is to destabilize Georgia and their agents, and against the background of the weakening of the government, to forcefully overthrow the government by destructive forces. As the newspaper Vzglyad has already reported, the Georgian State Security Service is interviewing citizens these days, by the way. I also report about it. Citizens who returned from Ukraine after participating in military hostilities on the side of the Kiev regime. And in this particular case, of course, we are talking about so-called Georgian Legion, which is a part of Foreign Legion. And this Foreign Legion, including Georgian Legion, are operating under the umbrella of main intelligence directorate of Ukraine's defense ministry, under director control of Kirill Budanov, head of main intelligence directorate of Ukraine. And this directorate is, of course, operating under strict control of CIA, under umbrella of the CIA. So if Ukraine's main intelligence directorate and SBU also are involved, then because Georgian Legion is operating under their control, then it is obvious that this chain of control goes through Langley directly to CIA and to Washington intelligence community of US and political leadership. So this is what is happening. By the way, Western ruling class created from Ukraine after 2014 coup d'etat, not just a proxy that they can use against Russia, and they are using it against Russia by sacrificing Ukrainian society and the statehood of Ukraine, but they quite effectively created a terrorist state that operates in many countries with terrorist methods. Russia, Ukraine, Moldova, by the way, and not far away, when this terrorist state will start acting on European soil also, and maybe even in the US. They created this monster, and they will have to face consequences. Also, by the way, to continue update, we have additional information that Prime Minister of Georgia, Irakli Garibashvili, stated that while commenting on investigation that is conducted in Georgia in regards to attempt to overthrow government and to assassinate Bidzina Ivanishvili, he said that behind all this plot are very same forces that are behind the recent assassination attempt of the Prime Minister of Slovakia, Fico, and also recent attempt to assassinate former US President and possibly future US President Donald Trump. On my Telegram, I also shared this statement of Georgia's Prime Minister. And this is it, by the way. So Prime Minister of Georgia is saying that the assassination attempt of Ivanishvili was prepared by the organizers of attacks on Trump and Fico. The assassination of the founder of the assassination attempt of the founder of the ruling Georgian Dream party, Bidzina Ivanishvili, was prepared by the same forces that tried to kill Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico and former US President Donald Trump. This was stated by Prime Minister of Georgia Irakli Kobachidze, and then quote, in the last period, 2 terrorist attacks were committed, one in Slovakia and second in the United States. This is the common style that characterizes the same global political forces. Kobachidze said at the briefing. He added that the preparations of a terrorist attack on Georgia is of concern, and the fact that Georgia's special service is investigating the preparations of Ivanishvili's assassination suggests that the dangers exist in Georgia as well. So very strong statements, by the way, very strong statements. And when we are talking about high-ranking officials and security services, we should assume that they know what they are talking about. So that's how things are. And also, by the way, very same person, Prime Minister of Georgia, Irakli Kopachidze, commented on Western's aggression towards Georgia, some Western politicians or political classes' aggression towards Georgia, which become very visible lately, since the Georgian ruling party adopted law about foreign agents. And he said following: Prime Minister of Georgia, Irakli Kopachidze, called on Western critics of his country to pay attention to restrictions on rights and freedoms in Moldova, for example. Correspondent of the Vzglyad newspaper reported from Tbilisi recently, and this is quote, recently about 10 TV companies have been closed in Moldova. Political pluralism is limited in Moldova. Moldova is a member of the CIC, but no one remembers this when they criticize Georgia, he said at the press conference. There is no such interest from the West in Moldova as there is in Georgia. We see bias and double standards in this, he said. Georgia hopes that the United States will form a fair, correct and pragmatic course towards Georgia, and then we will be able to reset relations, said Kopachidze, and he definitely has a point, isn't it? In Moldova, almost all media outlets are shut down or under heavy pressure that are critical of Sandu's government. Political leadership of opposition parties are constantly harassed, and still no word, no critical word from Brussels or from anybody among these political circles in the political circus in Europe or collective West. No critical words towards Moldova's government, while Georgia have been criticized heavily, especially recently, just because Georgian ruling party adopted this law about foreign agents, because Georgian society has every right to know which NGOs, which public figures, which so-called media outlets are financed from outside of Georgia, and by whom exactly and for what purposes. It's so simple, isn't it? And the answer in these differences in approaches is, or explanation, that Sandu, by the way, Maria Sandu, is a CIA asset. She does whatever she is told to do, right? She is a CIA asset. She has no principles. She has no even idea what her national interests of Moldova are, or what her interests of people of Moldova are, and she don't even care. She does whatever she's told to do, and therefore, no matter what she's or her inner circle will do inside the Moldova, Western ruling class don't care, because they are puppets that obey orders. While Georgia is a different story, and Georgian government already proved that they are acting based on interests of Georgian society and interests of Georgia, security of Georgia, and therefore they refuse to participate in this anti-Russian sanction war. They refuse to turn Georgia into some kind of second front against Russia and sacrifice their own fellow citizens, their based interests, and Georgia's statehood. And they've been heavily criticized for that. And also, Georgia's leadership did not listen to Western ruling class when they were basically demanding from Georgia not to adopt this law about foreign agents. Tbilisi adopted it anyways. So you clearly see differences, isn't it? But yet again, approach of the Western ruling class is very different. they are criticizing Georgia constantly, and no matter what Sandu's government gonna do in Moldova, they have no opinion on that. They don't care. So yes, Irakli Korbachidze is absolutely correct. Western ruling class is operating not just with double standards, but at this point, by the way, I'm quite sure outside of collective Western, nobody really respects Western ruling elites, Western political class. Just nobody really respects them. And I don't think they deserve any respect at all. Maybe there are a few exceptions of the, individuals, persons that formally are part of Western ruling class, obviously, like Prime Minister or leadership of Hungary, for example, or leadership of Slovakia, current leadership of Slovakia. And there are some politicians in other countries also that, yes, they gain respect worldwide, but when it comes to majority, rest of the world don't cares about them, and I think even inside the collective West, significant part of societies are ashamed of those politicians that they are representing their countries. Anyways, let's continue. We have information that according to Sergei Lebedev, coordinator of the Russian underground in Ukraine, pro-Russian underground or partisans in Ukraine, Russian armed forces conducted precise strike on point of concentration of Kiev regime's neo-Nazi formations, Kraken and Aidar. This happened on outskirts of Kharkov, and according to this report on TASS news agency, during the strike, about 200 members of these armed groups, Kraken and Aidar, were located in that position. No detailed information about casualty numbers among those neo-Nazis, but I guess number is very significant because strike was precise. RIA Novosti is also reporting that Ukrainian media outlets acknowledge night strikes of the Russian armed forces in Odessa region on military and logistics infrastructure of the Kiev regime in Odessa region, to be more precise. To be more precise, in Izmail, which is located on Danube River, by the way, right opposite to Romania. And during these strikes, according to Ukrainian media, some energo facilities, including fuel depots, were destroyed. I shared on my Telegram videos of that burning areas in Izmail, and let me show you where that city is located. So it's here, by the way, somewhere. It's supposed to be here. Izmail, by the way, this is the town. This is the city where explosions occur on Danube River, right there on the border with Romania. Initially, there was a statement that several Russian drones crossed the border with Romania and failed on Romanian territory, but during the day, I didn't see any additional reports on that. Probably that was some fake news, or I don't know. Let's wait. Maybe Romanian side, by the way, Romanian side will make some statements about it. If fragments of the Russian drones or drones themselves fell on Romanian territory, but it is obvious that target for Russian side was military and logistical infrastructure, including energy infrastructure of the Kiev regime in Izmail port area, which is part of Odessa region, of course. So let's continue with some additional news now, and we have this report that Ukrainian foreign minister said that Kiev is ready for talks with Russia. This was stated in China. during Kulebo's visit in this country. So Kiev is ready to hold the peace talks with Moscow to end the long-running conflict. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba has told his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. Speaking to reporters on Wednesday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning offered a glimpse into the agenda of Kulebo's visit to China. Their first since the start of the Ukraine conflict in February 2022, as well as his talks with Wang. According to Mao, their hostilities between Moscow and Kiev were high on the agenda, with Kuleba making it clear that Ukraine is ready and willing to engage in a dialogue and negotiations with Russia. Of course, the negotiations should be rational and substantive, aimed at achieving the just and lasting peace, he added, as quoted by Mao. So maybe this is just a political game, by the way, because Kuleba was in in China, and I don't think he will brag about how against he is of peace talks, or how against Zelensky is of peace talks, especially now when Zelensky himself start talking about negotiations with Moscow. I guess also as a part of some game, some political game, but that's the information that we are receiving from China. Here in Russia, several high-ranking officials already commented on this news and said that Moscow has no trust in any statements that officials from Kiev regime are making. Actions will speak volumes, or I guess Moscow expects some steps to be made by Kiev regime towards the ending of this conflict. And right now, Moscow sees no such steps from Kiev. And no one believes just in statements, understandably so. After all, one should keep in mind that Zelensky himself is not even legit president of Ukraine. And right now, Moscow sees as a legit institution in Ukraine only parliament, only state rather. Anyways, by the way, let's continue. And RT is also reporting that Poland demands Ukraine resolves World War II massacre before joining EU. So Ukraine should not be allowed to join EU until Kiev and Warsaw resolved their differences over the World War II massacre, in which Ukrainian Nazi collaborators slaughtered tens of thousands of Poles. Defense Minister Vladislav Kosniak-Kamysz has stated the issue of Volyn massacre has long been a flashpoint in Ukrainian-Polish relations, despite Warsaw's support for Kiev in its conflict with Russia. Between 40 and 100,000 Poles are estimated to have been murdered by Ukrainian insurgent army, which collaborated with the Third Reich in the Volyn and Galicia regions in 1943 and 1944. In 2016, the Polish parliament declared the Volyn massacre as a genocide, while Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky and Polish President Andrzej Duda jointly attended an event to honor the memory of Volyn victims in 2023. Kiev has so far been reluctant to call the massacre a genocide, arguing that such a crime can only be perpetrated by a state, while their atrocities were carried out by partisan units. In an interview with the Polish broadcaster Polsat on Tuesday, Kosniak-Kamysz, defense minister of Poland, said that while Poland intends to support Ukraine as much as possible, not everything is perfect in our relations due to unresolved historical issues, particularly when it comes to the atrocities committed by Ukrainian nationalists against Poles. There will be no Ukrainian accession to the European Union if the Volyn issue is not resolved, he stated. So interesting news from Poland. A rare occasion when high-ranking officials in Poland are remembering history of their own people and remembering what Ukrainian neo-Nazis did to Polish people. Not just to Polish people. Ukrainian Nazis were mass killing everybody on the territories that they were in control of. Tens of thousands of Poles were killed, Jewish people were killed, Soviet people in general were killed, and even Ukrainians, by the way. Even people that was considering themselves as Ukrainians were killed if they were opposing this mass murderer campaign of the Ukrainian Nazis. So it is interesting that Warsaw official, high-ranking official in Warsaw is remembering this episode of history. So they should know better then. They should know with whom Russian armed forces are fighting, with what ideology. But for whatever reason, they don't want to acknowledge that still. Let's continue, dear friends. And also interesting news that Bundeswehr is acknowledging Russian superiority over their NATO in terms of increasing battle capabilities. And I translated this information also, and let's go through it. So Russia is superior to the countries of the North Atlantic Alliance in terms of building up military power, said the Bundeswehr Inspector General Carsten Brewer. According to Brewer, Russia produces from 1 to 1.5 thousand, from 1,000 to 1,500 additional tanks per year, while the 5 largest European NATO member countries have only half of this number. TASS reports their Bundeswehr has approximately 300 tanks. This general also noticed. Brouwer said that in the next 5 to 8 years, Russian army will be equipped with their equipment and their personnel so that an attack on NATO territory becomes possible. And then, quote, I deliberately talk about this in subjunctive mood. Then Russia would have such an opportunity. Their Tagesspiegel newspaper quotes him as saying, according to Brouwer, Russia's military buildup represents a growing danger. Well, once again, dear friends, in today's first update, I spoke about British general that was talking about war, incoming war. Now we have a general in Germany that talks about some war, and Russia will, in like 5 to 8 years, will be in a position to attack NATO. And as always the case, nobody is challenging these high-ranking officials, generals or politicians, whenever they are talking about war, because there is a absence of real journalism in Western MSM, and independent alternative media is not allowed on those press conferences, briefings, different gatherings to ask the questions, real questions. And MSM will never ask. I mean, you are talking about 5-8 years, and then Russia will be in position to attack. I mean, tell us, why would Russia attack NATO? I mean, for what purposes? I mean, there is any evidence? Maybe Western intelligence services have some data that in Kremlin there are discussions how they gonna attack Germany and how they gonna attack France and UK and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they have intelligence information on that. Just give us that. Tell us. Maybe they have some other information. But they don't, man. They don't, because Russian leadership was very clear since forever that Russia has no ambition to attack anybody. If not provoke, there is no way Russia will act aggressively towards anybody. That's Russia's approach. But yet again, I said many times that the Western ruling class wants to scare as much as possible Western societies with this constant talk about war, and by doing so, of course, they have more guarantees that no one will question their actions. No one will question if they will spend more and more money on proxy wars outside of collective West, on regime change operations, on military-industrial complex, and also to enrich themselves, because one should keep in mind that these people are getting filthy rich, by the way, by stealing money of their Western taxpayers. It is what it is. And this, if societies in the West are scared that if not today, then tomorrow Russians gonna come and attack us, and wow, what we gonna do? If people really are scared and really think this way, then of course they will not challenge nobody. And these so-called political elites will do whatever they want. And that's exactly what is happening. And before I continue, dear friends, let me notice, if I may, that this small media project of mine with several channels on YouTube, Rumble, and Telegram exists solely due to support of our community, members of our community, to whom I'm immensely grateful, of course. And if you can, please consider also to support my work and to support this project. If you like, of course, if you like my work and if you like what you see on my channels, you can support with donations through PayPal or Boosty, or with cryptocurrency if you are good with it, with cryptos. Or you can subscribe to my Patreon page. By the way, this is my Patreon. And if you remember, yesterday I was wondering, will we manage to reach 150 members on our Patreon community? And we did, and I'm very thankful for community, of course, on Patreon also. And if I will be immensely happy if more and more people will join Patreon community, become on Patreon, and who knows, maybe before end of this summer we will manage to reach 200 on the Patreon. That will definitely allow me to say that, well, topic of survivability of this project is finally closed. That chapter is in history now, and let's move forward towards further development. But yet again, long way to go, because right now our community is 150 members on Patreon, and 200 seems very, very ambitious. But anyways, all the links, by the way, are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And let me also notice that subscription on Patreon, monthly subscription, starts from $5. It's not that expensive. It starts from $5, and then you can choose a level of your support. It can be $5 a month, 10, 20, 50, even 100 if you want to. It's all up to you. That's been said, well, this is Boosty, by the way. You can subscribe on Boosty also, and I have additional bonus content or extra content on both platforms, on Boosty and Patreon, although Patreon is much more developed, of course. For example, yesterday evening I uploaded this video from central part of Moscow. It's a little walk and talk video, and also a news summary. And community liked this video, so if they are happy, I am happy also. And yes, and dear friends, let me thank Jack Hudson on donation alerts. I just noticed that Jack Hudson donated 10 USD, and comment is here: just a note to say hello, Levan, and I send the best wishes to all in our growing community. Thank you very much, Jack, for your support, for your kind words. I appreciate. Thank you. And let's continue, dear friends. RT is reporting about quite a disturbing news from Middle East, from Israel, which is that United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, may be declared as a terrorist organization, its staff stripped of immunity, and its activists inside Israel outlawed under series of bills that have been proposed in the Knesset, which is Israeli parliament. Well, disturbing developments. Number of UN personnel was a significant number of UN personnel was killed during their humanitarian mission in the Gaza Strip since the beginning of hostilities between Israel and Palestine. And unfortunately, now situation is so bad that Israeli politicians are even considering to declare this organization, which is UN agency, by the way. This is United Nations agency. Netanyahu's government probably and their parties that are in support of this this government may declare this agency a terrorist organization. I don't understand this, but maybe you do, dear friends. Share your opinion in the comment section. This tragedy has to end, by the way, in the Middle East. This tragedy has to end, but TASS news agency is also reporting about a plane crash in Kathmandu, in Nepal, as a result of which 18 people were killed, and one person, captain of the plane, survived miraculously. On my Telegram, I shared the videos of this crash. This is the aftermath, and also, by the way, disturbing video of the crash of these planes. For example, this one, you can see plane just take off, it seems like, and crashed straight away. Also this video, tragedy. And there was no passengers, by the way, on the plane, according to reports that I see. It was a personnel of avio company to whom this plane belonged. This was a testing flight, according to reports, and this tragedy happened. And also Russian Foreign Ministry, official representative of Russian Foreign Ministry, Maria Zakharova, stated that 3 Russian citizens died after ship fishing vessel sank in Atlantics, not far away from Falkland Islands. So there was 8 Russian citizens on the border. 5 survived. 5 managed to escape before this vessel sank, but 3 did not manage to escape, and 1 Russian citizen is missing, according to reports. Tragedy, of course. And rescued sailors were transported to Falkland Islands. On this ship there was not just Russians, but also 5 citizens of Indonesia, 2 citizens of Uruguay, and 2 citizens of Peru. And yes, unfortunately, 3 Russian citizens lost their lives as a result of this tragic accident. And I will end this part of news update with of Russian media reporting with this information that International Olympic Committee made a decision to conduct 2030 Winter Olympics in France, in French Alps. This news was reported just before I started this live stream. That's when I see this. this news, which is well, very interesting. Very interesting. France is hosting Olympics now in 2024 and will host Olympics in 2030. Well, why not? Really, why not? I only have one issue with the Olympics. It's just politicized, too ideologized, and therefore I lost any interest towards these games. But it's just me, maybe. And dear friends, I will share with you some additional news that I posted on my Telegram before ending this live stream. So you already, of course, informed that Palestinian factions, will form unity government after talks in China. I reported about it in the morning's update. Then on Telegram, I shared this video. Whale is unintentionally, I guess, or maybe intentionally, scientists should say their opinion on it. Whale crashed with a boat, and two persons end up in the water, but these guys on this another boat rescued them, and they survived. Also, this quite epic video, by the way, is from Sicily, Italy. This is Etna, by the way, Etna volcano eruption, and the plume of eruption is reaching 5 kilometers, at least 5 kilometers, according to reports. Fascinating view, isn't it? Very dangerous, and well, still, I mean, fascinating view. Power of nature is unchallenged, obviously. This is video of Russian strike on positions of Kiev regime forces with the incendiary munition. It might look beautiful, but this is extremely dangerous. Of course, to be under shelling of cluster munition. Not cluster, but incendiary ammunition, of course. Also information that BRICS countries are discussing Iran's initiative to connect their payment systems. This was stated in an interview with the TASS by Andrei Rudenko, deputy head of Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Yes, yet again, in previous updates, I mentioned this proposal from Iran, and I spoke about this initiative to unite payment systems of the BRICS member states, like Russia and Iran united their payment systems. And well, work is done in this direction, and if it will be finalized, then one may say that this new united payment system may somewhat challenge even SWIFT, Western-controlled transaction system. That's a possibility. In any case, of course, BRICS is working and most likely further intensify work on creation of alternative financial and the banking system, alternative to the Western one, which is extremely weaponized by Western ruling class and almost unusable or cannot be trusted at this point worldwide. Also, I share this video footage from the US Capitol. This is a pro-Palestine protesters conducted some rally inside the building. Then I shared this small fragment of dialogue between journalist Abi Martin, and Rania Kalek. You can check this video. I would like to invite both of these journalists one day for an interview. Maybe it will be possible. Also, by the way, this epic video of geyser eruption in Yellowstone Park. Just look at this, man. People are terrified. They're running away. And it's a park. It's a park. Probably never before this type of eruption has happened to this geyser exactly, and that's why this walking path was created this close to it. Maybe or maybe it's just optics that show us that it was too dangerous. Maybe it was not really that dangerous, I don't know, but video is clearly epic one, isn't it? Just look at this, man. And of course we all know that there is a super volcano under the Yellowstone, and sometime in next 50 to 100,000 years that super volcano may wake up, and that's gonna be very big deal for human civilization on this planet, not just for North America, but for humanity in general, obviously. And this is the videos, by the way, that I was talking about when I commented on Izium, not Izium, but Ismail port city on Danube in Odessa region. This is videos from there. Aftermath of Russian drone strikes on military, logistics, and energy infrastructure of the Kiev regime in this area. So quite a long time since last strike of Russian forces towards Ismail, Kilia, or some other ports on the Danube River. I already spoke about this attack, terrorist attack that happened in Moscow this morning. Also, by the way, there was clashes in the West Bank. Situation in the West Bank is deteriorating on daily basis, and for example, Israeli armored car was attacked and burned down. And this is, by the way, this is Cougar Creek, where fire is apparently on 11,000 acres, and one member of our community commented that this is maybe this fire, as far as I understand, suggestion was that maybe this fire is intentional because of their land. Someone wants to take over land there. I don't know. Anything is possible, but it's a summertime. It's a summertime, and forest fires, wildfires are in every country with the vaster forestry. Of course, I reported about this Kuleba statement. Obviously, Boeing will soon sign $927 million contract to deliver 4 KS-46A aerial refuelers, aerial tankers to the Israeli military. So Boeing will receive additional billion. But it is interesting that Israel still trusts Boeing. I already reported about statements of Georgia's Prime Minister Kobachidze and the Poland's Defense Minister about Ukraine's perspective to join NATO. Some video about Russian offensive. I also shared today's update from New Atlas, by the way. Brian Berletic, host of New Atlas, of course, does great work to inform us all, to inform public with his update on many important topics. And Maria Zakharova, by the way, commented on statements that are made in the Western media by Western politicians about Russia's involvement or interference into U.S. Domestic politics. And Maria Zakharova commented, this is quote, by the way, blaming Russia for their own troubles, miscalculations, mistakes is a manifestation of the sickness of American democracy. We wish them a speedy recovery. So she was somewhat sarcastic here, of course, but also very much correct, because U.S. political system is clearly experiencing some difficult times, and it needs some repair to be done. That's for sure. Also, by the way, Maria Zakharova's comment on Zelensky's statement about ending the hostility. Nobody believes him. Moscow reacts to Zelensky, saying he wants to end the conflict. Russia does not trust Vladimir Zelensky when he says he would like to see a speedy end to the conflict. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said in today's briefing, according to her, Zelensky's novel sentiment expressed on Telegram is likely related to Kyiv trying to play both sides of the ongoing presidential elections in the United States. And well, she has a point, isn't it? She clearly has a point. By saying so, also I shared, of course, today's update from Military Summary channel. Also interesting that Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz will run for a new term as a Chancellor, as the SPD party candidate. Well, I don't know. First term was clearly devastating for Germany, and if he will run again, or if he will become Chancellor of Germany again, well, that's gonna be really something, isn't it? I'm not quite sure German economy will survive another term of Scholz and his very strange, to say the least, government. Also, by the way, Slovak President Peter Pellegrini threatened Ukraine with retaliatory measures if the issue of Russian oil transit through Ukraine is not resolved. Very strong words from Slovakia, from Bratislava. And well, relationships are clearly deteriorating between Slovakia and Ukraine, Slovakia and Kyiv regime, Hungary and Kyiv regime, and this will not stop. I think things will only go from here. Things will only escalate. And then I shared a little advertiser to this live stream. And this video, by the way, of Russian Iskander strike on a command and control center of the Kyiv regime in one of the directions on a line of contact. This was a command and control center, and also two groups of drone operators were working from that area. You can see clearly vehicles are approaching this place, and then, well, precise missile strike with the Iskander-M missile, I believe, and well, that's the result. According to Russia's defense ministry, Russia's military struck the command post of the 63rd Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in Krasny Liman with an Iskander missile. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported the command post with its operational staff, 2 command and staff vehicles, 10 fixed-wing drones, and over 300 FPV drones were completely destroyed, and we all see this in this video. And this is it, by the way. This is it for today's live stream. I hope you will find this update interesting and useful, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. This is the only way we can try and influence algorithm to reach wider audience. And if you like my work, if you like what you see on my channels, please consider to support. All the links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.